Welcome to episode 5 of Barbells, Bikinis and Balance. Today I have got my first male guest and his name is Dean. Dean, tell me about yourself. Tell us about the man behind the moustache and what you're all about.
Wonderful. Well, first of all, thank you for having me on. I feel quite honoured to be your first male guest. Hopefully I do the male population a good service here by not throwing us all under the bus, because, yeah, we'll see how this goes, eh? So who am I? Well, I'm an online coach, first of all, and that's where we know each other from, obviously through the Supercharged Fit Pro Academy and the mentorship that we're both part of. We've never met face to face, but it's incredible what the online world brings people together in, doesn't it? It's quite an amazing community to be part of, and that's why, you know, we have these conversations today, right? It's something I'm very, very grateful for. So thank you for inviting me on. So yeah, I'm an online coach as one of my, in terms of my business. My profession is I still serve in the British Army as a Royal Army Physical Training Corps instructor. Now, for most people, it's quite difficult to understand what that looks like. But my job is to make sure the service personnel and the military personnel that fall within my umbrella are essentially operationally fighting fit. So they're fit, they're healthy, not just from physical development, but also from lifestyle, nutrition, mindset, etc. We just make sure that they're in the good space, we get them physically and mentally fit. And we're like the lead strength and conditioning coaches within big mainstream units, looking after, I suppose, anywhere from like 250 people up to 400 and 500 people plus sometimes. It really depends on who they are. But I suppose when people ask me who I am, first and foremost, I'm a husband and I'm a father. They are what define me. They're everything about who I am as a human being. People say, like, you know, who are you? You're in the military. And I'm like, yeah, but that doesn't define who I am. The person that what defines me and who I am are my actions and how I treat people, how I speak to people, how I want to be remembered for, the legacy that I want to leave for my kids and my wife. Because let's face it, I'm probably going to die before my wife because I'm an idiot and she's not. That's just a normal walk of life for most most man-wife relationships. That's how life goes down, husband-wife. The husband probably goes first because he's a bit of a plonker. But in most instances, like, I'll always tell somebody, well, I'm a husband and I'm a father to two of the most incredible things that have ever blessed my life. And if you're watching this on video, you'll see behind my head, like, I've constantly reminded, and I want to be constantly reminded that my children are my everything. I brought them into this world and they mean that much to me. So I'm a first and foremost husband and father. I'm a coach. I'm a military man. And yeah, that's a little bit about who I am, I suppose.
Amazing. And I love that your driving purpose is for your family. And can I talk to you a little bit about fitness and how you got into becoming a PT, just very briefly? Yeah. Because for me, one of the things I really try to strive to convey is to, especially, I work predominantly with females, but some males as well. But to my clients, if they're family people and they have kids, one of the driving things is you want to cherish those memories that you make with your kids. You want to be able to run around carefree with them. You want to make some amazing memories running on the beach, running and diving into the sea. And if you're not taking care of your body and you're neglecting it, the memories that you're making with your kids, they're going to remember you as the person that was always sat down and couldn't jump up and play. And yeah, talk to me a little bit about your kind of way into fitness and then PT and why you exercise now and why it's so beneficial for you.
Yeah, I mean, I got into fitness nearly properly as a trainer nearly 15, just under 15 years ago, through nothing but vanity. Like, true and authentic to my word, through nothing but vanity. I wanted to look good. I wanted the Arnold Schwarzenegger-esque style physique.
Okay.
I didn't really know where to start, like, exactly, but clearly as a young boy, you know, we go back those 15 years, you don't really grasp or understand what the hell putting on muscle is. You don't understand how to train. You just do things. And that's all I was doing. So I jumped into it, went and done a 6-week online course, which was very all intensive, and I learned a lot, but didn't really apply anything. I just then did what I did. But I couldn't use that qualification anywhere. I could do I think I did some spinning boot camp courses, or spinning boot camp instructors.
Okay.
I then done a body pump course, and then I did like this aerobic stepper course with kettlebells and dumbbells. And that's all I could do was take like random group classes once or twice here or there. It was genuinely, that was my first step into the fitness industry. And I don't think I took it seriously until after I think in Iraq, 2008, 2008. When I was in Iraq, that's when I kind of like buckled down. I was like, right, I really want to get into this, and started training really hard, started looking after myself, my nutrition. But again, all through vanity. I had my wife. She was, and still she is beautiful. She is like, I am completely punching well above my weight. And I'm not afraid to admit that. She is absolutely stunning, inside and out. And for me, there was a little bit of scarcity because relationships I had past never ended well. And funnily enough, they never ended well, which a lot of people will blame a man for. Actually, it was the reverse for me. I had a really difficult relationship before my wife. Having had somebody cheat on me with a few who I thought was friends. And that really cut me in half. Like, it did, yeah. Like, it cut me in half because I had a girl that I thought I loved cheat on me with people who I thought were my friends. And they weren't necessarily close friends, but they were close. I was part of a military community. So the friends that you had around you in that military community, they were your be all and end all. They were your everything. So to have that happen to me, it just spurred me on to become, I was a really scrawny individual. I wouldn't say I was bullied at school because I was a loudmouth. I was extroverted. I was always in trouble all the time, and a bit of a play to the act, comedic type of, cheeky chappy, exactly. Never malicious or like disgustingly rude to people, just very cheeky, very chirpy. I'd always be in trouble because I was doing something cheeky that I shouldn't have been doing, and I was quite scrawny and athletic. That was it. And I just had, people always used to say to me, oh, you're so skinny, and having that in the back of your mind, I was like, well, I tell you what, watch what happens. And that in my mind was just a massive driving force whilst I was in Iraq. It's just like, I don't want to lose my partner. Like, we had a long distance relationship. She's American. I don't want to lose her. I want to show her, like, and through vanity, just wanted to look good for myself and wanted to look good for her. So did it then. And then it really took off when I come back from Iraq, went and done the military all arms personal physical training instructors course, which was a 10-week course. One of the best experiences of my life. And that is really what taught me the tactical strength and conditioning stuff, the performance stuff around looking after soldiers and their mental performance, physical performance, and the impact that all arms and personal physical training instructors in the military have, how they dominate the room, they dominate the space, they're extroverted characters, but what they deliver is, for those that are good, is second to none. And that happened so many years ago, and now I look back on that with some fond memories and lessons learned, but I can tell you right now, that has completely flipped, reversed. I don't now train for vanity. I train because I have a purpose, and I've got a vision board. I've got a storyboard that I keep quite private to myself, but it has images of the lake in Michigan where my wife and I go back home because my wife lives in Michigan. It comes from Michigan. There's a couple of pictures with me, her, the kids, and that's my purpose. My purpose is for us to move over there, grow old with my wife, see my children and my grandchildren, and be able to race them down this small incline into the lake and dive in and beat them all. That's my vision. That's my purpose. Yeah, so I was smiling while she was saying running down into the sea. Like, that's actually a vision of mine. We've got like a little fire pit on this jetty with this pontoon that goes out, and that's her dad. It's such a beautiful part of the world, and I always look back at that and have those moments where that's my purpose. That's why I do what I do now. I do it because I want to beat my grandkids in a 3-point race. Like, I want to beat them, but to be able to then bounce on the trampoline.
Oh, Grandpa's so strong. Yeah.
Exactly
Grandpa's so
that.
fast. Grandpa's so strong. Yeah.
That's exactly
I love that.
it.
And
that is exactly it.
What I will say, just for anyone listening that might resonate with this, is people that are not fully aware of their body's potential, or kind of are sitting and listening, and they're kind of in this body that's just right now a bit of a vessel, and they're out of touch with what their body can do. And like, I've been on, like, here in Dubai, it's quite a lot of like boat parties and stuff, and there's been lots of times where you get the photo opportunities, right? And you stand up next to the rail, and there's been some people that I'm with, and they're really scared to even like balance on the boat, and they're scared they're gonna completely fall off because they've just got no concept of their body and what it can do. And I'm like, you can stand up, you can do it, just like bend your knees, feel your body. Like, but even those are very basic things. And I just feel so strongly that people should just be aiming to make memories and live a long, healthy, active life where they are able to do exactly what you just said with their kids, their grandkids, their family, and just enjoy it and not feel like they're restricted or being held back because they're not looking after themselves.
It's a massive thing that we advocate with my athletes. Like, everything that we do, I never want to be presented with a physical challenge that I can't take on or even try and attack. Even if that's looking after my family in a scary situation, if that's helping somebody that has fallen over and, for want of a better word, put themselves right in a bad place and they need to be picked up and supported, all the way to, and it sounds really stupid and cliche for someone in the military, but I never ever want to be a burden on the bloke that's on the left and the bloke that's on the right of me, especially in a combat environment. I never ever want to do that, and fortunately I haven't been in that situation since since Afghanistan, but and then Iraq before then, and time. But you don't ever want to be in a position where, even in training, regardless of what the situation is, that I don't want the guy on the right or the left of me to have to carry my load and do extra, have to push themselves further because my arse isn't keeping up with them. So when I talk about why this is so important to me, it's not just important to me, it's the impact it has on everybody around me. From the 2 girls that you can see on the photos behind me, from my wife, my family members, all the way to my colleagues, my comrades, my brothers, everyone that I've ever served with. I never ever want to be a burden on those people. So health and fitness isn't just going to the gym and doing the sets and reps. It is what you've just said. Being able to stand up and get an amazing photo with your family on a boat, or with your partner on a boat, but you're worried because, for want of a better word, you're not physically fit or active. I don't want to be that person. And I'm constantly reminded every day of why those things are important, because I've got 2 incredible little things that run around me, and it's just all the time. It's always reminding. And if anybody sees my social media handles, you'll see how active I am with my kids. I do their cheerleading. I do their dance with them. I become cheer dad. Like, all of those moments and memories, they're things that if I was not physically active or sat on my arse, I'd never be able to do those things with my kids. So I then become a burden on them. That will just never happen.
And it's also, I love that. And it's also like a circle. It's cyclical, because by being able to keep up with them, you're also being a role model for them. So they're not then tempted to sit down on their iPads or their phone because you want to run around with them. And like, this is, it's you, by seeing you joining in and being active with them, it then encourages them to also lead an active life. And I love the way you're talking about it, because I'm one of 4 girls and my dad was military, and he was always very encouraging when it came to fitness, and we would go in the garden on summer evenings, and he would launch a tennis ball at us, and the first one to drop it was out, and then we had like 3 lives. But he wouldn't hold back either. He'd be launching these tennis balls. My mum said she would be washing up after dinner, looking out the window, being like, "Oh, Stuart, like, go steady." But like, it encouraged us, and we were always like wanting to go out after dinner, and we wanted to go jogging at the weekends and go up the Kirkham Hill, that we called it, because it was the one that we always ran up. And it's such a powerful thing to do with your kids, is be fit, healthy and active, because it does create great memories and great habits for life, especially in this technological day and age where there's so many people on their iPads and their phones, and
it's tough, right? It means exactly that.
It's
everything
tough.
that you've just said and more. It's so many different things.
So we've looked into a bit of your background and the context of everything, and your purpose, your driving forces, your family, amazing values. And when we spoke about what you wanted to come on and discuss, there's also, I will say here, hopefully I'll get a chance to talk to you again about females in the military, because like I said, I'm one of 4, and my 3 sisters are all military. And I would really love to talk to you at some point about females in the military and health and fitness, and how females and their mindset kind of go into the military. And maybe even with one of my sisters, that would be interesting. But you were like, your specialty is creating this incredibly strong mindset and resilience. And what I want to ask you first and foremost is, how would you define mindset and mental toughness? How do you define it?
So I think first, like the big thing for me, specialty wise, is I work with people that are high performers. I'm not a psychologist. I'm not a therapist in any way. I just tap into people's understanding of why they want to be able to perform the way they do, and break down their limiting self-beliefs. We dig a little bit more than just the surface layer of... I always talk to people and refer to an onion. And if you think of yourself as an onion, the outer skin layer is just the sets and reps in the gym. That's it. That's all that refers to. If we talk about fitness and we refer to the onion, the fitness onion, if we call it that, or the health and fitness onion, the outer layer of that is sets and reps in the gym. It breaks away really easily. The core of who you are is the dead center of that onion. And the more layers that you can peel back, the more likely you are to stay in this game for a lot longer than just doing it for vanity and doing it for muscle definition, etc. And those things are fine, but it still has to come back to what are your attitudes and beliefs and assumptions about what you want to achieve and why you want to achieve it. So when I talk to anybody, I'm, as a coach, I help people develop an unbreakable mindset and an unbreakable body that allows them to engineer a life that makes them unfuckable with. That's what we do. So we don't just work on the sets and the reps for the body. We don't just work on the sets and the reps for the mind. It's a whole holistic package with a team behind us that allows us to achieve success with those people. So when I speak to my clients and my athletes and anybody, for me, mental toughness, or even when we talk about mindset, like let's go with that first, the piece around mindset. Mindset is this buzzword that just gets chucked around by people, or resilience just gets chucked around by people. First things first, you can't buy resilience, and you can't buy mental toughness, and you can't buy a powerful mindset. You have to earn those things, and you only earn those things, and I'm going to quote the only thing that Liver King has ever said that was worth its weight in gold. Everything else was an ode of crap. But you have to go through these rites of passage. And these rites of passage are what allow you to diversify your individual experiences. So by you standing up on the boat, for example, let's take that vision of somebody standing up on the boat trying to get a photo with their boyfriend in Dubai, but it's a bit choppy at sea. Well, for me, the mental toughness that it takes for you to stand up, that's you overcoming a diversifying situation. Even if you got knocked over onto the floor, loads of people will see that as a negative. In your head, you'll see that as a negative. And it might be embarrassing at that moment in time, but rest assured, you standing back up, shaking yourself off, dusting yourself down, and then standing back on the boat and getting a photo with your partner next to you, you've just dug a layer deeper in your onion. And it's these processes that we try and go through on a daily basis. Like, we can talk about mental toughness of dealing with stress and pressure and being in some of the most adverse environments in the world. Soldiers, and your sisters will attest to this, they would have been in some sort of adverse situation, having gone through basic training, having got to their unit. Yeah. They're constantly tested, and in operational conditions, you are always put in a situation where you need to be able to think. And this is what we call an adverse condition. It's an adverse environment. Let's put this into your speak. You talk about that beautiful lady that wouldn't stand up to take a photo with her partner on the boat. Well, that is an adverse condition that you are now in. You're now faced with a choice. By simply saying yes, or somebody coaxing you to stand up and do it, that is how you develop mental toughness. You develop mental toughness by doing these things, by what we call overreaching your perspective on what you think you can do. Because everybody has a ceiling, and everybody sets their ceiling so low that their expectations will always carry them to that ceiling. If you set your ceiling and the sky is the limit, as the literal saying is the sky's the limit, then anything that comes your way, you're just going to see as an opportunity to grow. So when it comes to talking about mental toughness and mindset, it's without doubt something that has to be earned. And mental toughness comes from, or mental resilience particularly, comes from you saying you're going to do something, you then do it not going the way you had hoped, and you adapt into that situation very quickly. That's how you build resilience and mental toughness. But what happens is we lie to ourselves. We lie to ourselves all the time. And I hate the word try. So many people use the word try. Oh yeah, I'll give that a try. Yeah. No, remove that narrative from your box. Because you saying you're trying something, you're already giving yourself permission to lie, regardless of what obstacles there.
Wait 1 second. I'm just gonna. Oh wait, hang on. Sorry, my fire alarm in my building's just going off. I think it stopped. Did you hear it?
I did.
No,
I did.
It's fine. Sorry. I thought it was going to start going off in my bedroom, but they've obviously stopped it. I really apologise for that. So
it's fine.
Sorry. You were saying...
No, not at all. This is all authentic as well, right? It's real. But yeah, just going back to that point, like...
Lord.
Exactly. You have to expose yourself. But this is another way... Yeah, dust off. Like, take this as on your podcast, I'm the first male. It's still early days for your podcast as an example. These things that are happening on this podcast right now, they're real, they're authentic. But what do? Like you've just said, we dust off on the shoulders, and despite being in a challenging situation like that, like, holy shit, what do? Do I turn off this podcast or do I start? I don't know what to do. Like, you adapt to the environment. You adapt to what's in front of you and you build. So guess what? Next time you're on, you're going to constantly grow and evolve with this podcast. So it takes place in so many places. But in order to achieve mental toughness, or what mental toughness really is, mental toughness is just having an attitude, having a belief, having an experience that allows you to adapt to any situation that's put in front of you. Still maintain that focus, still have that vision on the goal, but adapt to any situation that you're put in. How you build that mindset and how you build that toughness, you've got to go through those rites of passage. And if you don't go through those rites of passage and you don't take an opportunity, you don't not try it, you actually go and do it. Do more things rather than just try more things. And you will see very quickly how you can build mental toughness that will last you a lifetime.
Yes. And I was just having a conversation, like this is a very, like you say, these little places of adversity where you build it, it happens all over the place throughout your day, throughout your week, throughout life. And I was just having a conversation this morning with a client who occasionally is late to her sessions. And we spoke about, afterwards we spoke about her sleep schedule and her like processes around sleep. And one of the things is the snooze button. And if you're going to set an alarm for 7 o'clock or 6:30 or whatever time you're waking up, get up and don't snooze it. That's something I've been reading up about recently about changing your morning routine. Is set your alarm, count downwards from 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and get up. And instead of just trying to wake up at 5:30, whatever time it is, do it. And like you say, just change that mindset. Instead of going to bed the night before and going, okay, I'll try and have an early morning. Actually, if you're going to start seeing changes, you have to change your behavior, and you have to change the way, like you're just saying, you have to change the way you speak and your vocabulary about situations. Like, I'll
100%.
try and wake up early. No, I will wake up early. Yeah.
Exactly that. And I think sleep's a great example of it. Sleep is a really good example, because a lot of people will say, okay, I'll just, like, it's just a behaviour I need to change, or behaviour I need to try and change. Like, no. The morning, and we use a phrase within the Catalyst Project, within my business and working with other athletes, we have the shark start routine. Now, a shark is a predator of the ocean. Yeah. And I want people to understand, when a shark wakes, or when a shark goes on a feeding frenzy, they don't stop until they are satisfied. They don't stop until they have been fulfilled. So, in the morning, how do we satisfy what we're able to achieve for the rest of the day? By waking up early is one experience. It's one opportunity to develop mental resilience. It's one opportunity where your body had a choice and your mind had a choice. You either say yes to the alarm clock or no to the alarm clock. You press snooze, you're giving in to the first challenge that you were faced that day. So every other challenge that then comes up against you on that day about making a choice that's built on your purpose, 9 times out of 10 you'll fall short and land flat on your face. So by setting your alarm at 6:30, 30 minutes before where you did before, lay it on the other side of the room, you've already got to get out of bed to go and then touch that phone and turn it off. If one of your other small little challenges and tasks is, I'm going to hydrate before I caffeinate, so I'm going to drink a pint of water before I have a coffee, that's an adverse thing. But if you do it consistently over time, you are then doing something that you don't want to do. Not everybody wants to wake up and drink a pint of water. It's why cold showers are quite effective for people, because not everybody wants to jump in a cold shower. But you give an adverse condition, you do the thing that you don't want to do, and guess what? You build more mental toughness and resilience. Grounding's another example. Go outside as soon as you wake up in the morning, turn your alarm off, drink a pint of water, stand on your balcony, in your garden, it doesn't matter where, and get some sunlight. Do you know how hard that is for people to do? But if you do it, you develop mental resilience. That then becomes a habit. It gets to a point after 30, 60, 90 days where it becomes so easy, your health, your performance and your wellness has now changed, not just in the morning, but through the rest of the day. Because any challenge that you're faced with, like, oh, I've got to go to the gym now, but I'm tired. Well, how's about we put our trainers on, shorts, t-shirt, and just walk to the gym. Get to the gym and start your warm-up. It's easy, right? Easy in principle, difficult
it is
in
when
practical.
you put it like that. Yeah, exactly. Do you know what? This leads really nicely into something I wanted to speak to you about. So, say someone has been through this phase of they've done all of this. They've done the early morning wake ups. They've done the pint of water. They've then gone out for a morning walk or a morning jog, and they've started it really well, and they've been in a really fit phase of their life, and they felt great. And then something's happened. So say like a baby comes along, and they're sleep deprived, and then they fall off track with everything. And then, like, can I ask you, like, why is it so hard for people to then start again?
Wow. I mean, that can be a myriad of different reasons, right? I think often what a lot of people think are common challenges are lack of motivation, for want of a better word. People think they have a lack of motivation, and that normally comes down to not having a support network around you that wants to see you try to change. So, and you can use a mother as a great example, but it would be difficult for me to comprehend the challenges that a mother faces, because I am not a woman. I have never given birth to a child, and psychologically and physiologically there are a lot of changes that take place to your body. But speaking to the type of demographic that maybe you might work with, I will try and put it into perspective, having had the experience with my wife. So my wife had exactly the same process. 2 kids. That if anybody's ever had a baby or has seen a woman giving birth, it's one of the most unbelievable experiences you will ever come up against or ever see. Or ever, I don't even know what the feeling's like, but I can't even imagine what it feels like to have a baby. But to see that, watch both of your children be brought to this world by another, it's the most incredible, mentally, physically, emotionally challenging experience that anybody will ever go through. No amount of sets and reps in the gym will replicate the levels that you see when a woman goes through birth or labour. So when we talk about somebody handling the fact that they are struggling to get back into routine, the first thing I'd say is don't think about being demotivated. The first thing you've got to do is find a support network that are going to help you start the healthier habits that you want to ingrain again. Something so simple as getting 2 or 3 mums together that are all wanting to get a little bit fitter, because we all always hear it, and just getting with a pram and going for a walk, holding yourself to account to a support network that is going to call you out for your bullshit if you don't turn up. Like a simple example of, Storm, where are you? Why are you not here for the walk? Oh, sorry girls, I'll be there in 5 minutes. Had a mad morning. But you're still showing up, you're still getting there, you're still there. If you had a child, you'll still be there with your child. And it's having that support system. First of all, I think that is probably the most important thing. Now, if you're not a woman, what the hell does that mean? Just having what we call a battle buddy or an accountability partner. Somebody who's going to go to the gym with you and maybe initially to build your confidence. Somebody who's going to go for a walk with you. Somebody who's going to check in on you and see how things are. One of your best friends that can help you with that. Not everybody can hire a coach, but this is where a coach is worth its weight in gold 1,000 times over. Like, if I go back all the way to the age of 15 years old, from the day I was starting earning money, probably a bit before then, I would pay for a coach if I knew the impact it would have had, because of the accountability that it gives you. Coaches are accountability specialists, if you want to call it that. We're just really good at making sure. Good coaches are accountability specialists. They just make sure that you're doing the shit that you said you were going to do, not try. You said you were going to do, and they keep you on track to account and to do that. So probably the first challenge is that motivational piece, and it's building a support network around you that can do that. Now, the second thing I think a lot of people struggle with is their goal isn't strong enough. So many people I speak to do not have a strong enough goal that is linked to who they are. And we go back to the surface of the onion. The skin of the onion, you saying, I want to lose 5 pounds of fat. That's the skin layer of that goal. But why do you want to lose 5 pounds of fat? And you use the power of 5 with any goal. Ask yourself 5 times deep why you want to achieve something. I want to lose 5 pounds of fat. Why? So I look good when I go on holiday. Okay, why? So when my husband looks at me, my husband sees me in an attractive and sexy way. Okay, but why? So that actually, so that I feel confident and strong in my own ability to do something for me. Okay, but why? Well, I've got 2 kids, and I want to set the example for them. Okay, now we're getting to the reason as to why you want to do something. It's not, I want to lose 5 pounds of fat.
Core. Yeah.
The core of the onion.
Yeah.
You're peeling back layer after layer after layer after layer in order to identify why you want to do what you want to do. Everybody I work with goes through a personal identity audit, and we then do something called the performance tactical playbook, where we sit down and we go through so much detail to find out what the hell is your why. What do you enjoy? What makes you smile? What gives you a sense of purpose? When you wake up in the morning, what's the first thing you think of? When you go to bed at night, what's the last thing you think of? These things in your mind all trigger certain things that identify why the goal is really important. And what we do is we're just really good at unpeeling all of that shit and finding a reason as to why we want to go to the gym. And we link those two together. We do what we call bridging the gap. So that everything that you do is driven by purpose. So that motivation then doesn't need to be relied on. And it's a thing we use in the military. So we want to prolong the amount of time, we want to prolong when the onset of your mind takes over. We want the physical to do everything that it can before your mindset needs to then be used. Because if you're relying on motivation from the off, you will always fail. If you're relying on a positive mindset, you will always fail. Because you're thinking about this, doing everything first before what your body can actually do. Your body can do a lot more than what you think it can. And I think they're probably 2 really big things. And I think what goes back to that accountability piece is with coaches, we teach people how to deal with stress. We teach people how to understand limiting self-beliefs and that fear of failure. And kind of, if all of your efforts are constantly inconsistent, you're always going to come up against a lack of motivation. You're always going to have fear of failure. You're always going to have a limiting self-belief. That negative self-talk and the narrative you tell yourself, I tried it this one time and it just didn't work. That's always going to be there. Because you haven't done the 2 things that are really important. You haven't linked yourself to a support network and someone that can hold you to account, because clearly you can't hold yourself to account right now. And that's okay. It's okay to admit that. And then the second one is finding somebody that can teach you all of these things and dig deep into your onion. Because if everything you do is for surface layer, you will never succeed on your goal because it's not deep enough.
Yeah. Well, you've definitely got me inspired with working with my clients regarding their why, and digging deep to find that core reason.
I think so many coaches can do that. Yeah, I think so many people can do that.
Obviously, and the question going back to the question was like, why is it so hard for people to get back to it? Like, you're right, by actually understanding that your whys may have changed, and then actually finding that why now. Don't base it on what was previous. Don't compare. Comparison is not going to help you if you think. Yeah.
Comparison is the biggest thief of success.
I know. And it's not even comparing to other people. It's comparing to your old self.
Yeah.
And like for me, I went through the journey myself in like prepping for bikini stuff, and I'd never quite got there, and I had to pull out for, like, I just hit a wall, and it was horrendous. And I didn't have an accountability coach there for me, which I think would have really helped me because I hit this huge wall and then I rebounded. And then when it then came to going, right, I need to start looking after myself again. I was like, but it took so much work to get where I was. I was like, all I could see ahead of me was this huge mountain, rather than, right, like, reassess, what do I want to do this for now? Like, it's not a bikini show anymore. Like, what is it for now? And then restarting. So yeah, I love that.
I think one thing that really, and I really dig my heels into these type of conversations with people, because there are so many amazing coaches. The market's not, like, the industry's not saturated. There are so many coaches for you to choose from. They're not saturated. It's just finding the person that aligns to who you are. But the problem that we all have is that so many coaches don't know who they are, and they don't know what they want from their journeys with their athletes. And if they don't know what they want from the journeys with their athletes, they then can't help the athlete get what they want to achieve. So having success with the client doesn't just come from the sets and reps, and especially like women, and I'll talk about this subject here, ladies that pursue a fitness career in terms of going on stage in bikini, in physique, whatever, they are so poorly looked after by other coaches, because other coaches only ever want to do the bodybuilding style of life with their clients, and they haven't done the deep work about what they really, really want to do in their life. So when it comes to prepping people to go on stage, yeah, they're great at getting people lean. They're fantastic at getting people in some insane condition, but they're absolutely god-awful at looking after the athlete's mindset and the psychology with that athlete. Which is why I think every single coach needs to go and do some sort of behavioural change psychology course, so that they understand what helps athletes or people that are even Gen Pop achieve success. Because like you've just said there, if you had an accountability coach, they would have been able to have the conversations around positive self-talk. They would have been able to help you go through power of reflection and understanding that as a tool. They would have been able to speak to you about how you can immerse yourself in a support network to get you back to a stage where you can start doing things again, rather than just going, oh, okay, well, that's the end of our journey then, because you're not paying me, I'll speak to you soon. And that's what really bugs me about so many people's journeys, is the lack of, it's almost like a malnourished mind. People's minds are so, the worst pandemic in the world right now is mental health. The worst pandemic in the world right now is people's mental health. Why? Because we've just come out of a lockdown. We are so financially, a lot of people are financially inept and unstable. People are now talking about mental health and now realizing that they themselves actually might be dealing with ambient anxiety, acute stress, chronic stress, depression, whatever. They might be dealing with those. Those things do not define you. They are just things that have happened to you. Yeah, but people label those as things that actually define them. I am depressed. I am anxious. I have OCD. I have ADHD. Okay, but they don't define who you are. Stop labeling them as things that define you, and that takes deep work. But the first route of barrier, the first entry to that, is as a trainer or as a coach, and I'm talking fitness trainers and coaches, if they understood from the surface layer what that looks like, you can then signpost that individual to the right type of person to get the help they need. Yeah, mental health and mental illness are two completely different things. The worst pandemic in the world right now is mental illness. Because coaches aren't equipped with the tools to go, actually, maybe there isn't something that we could potentially discuss with a colleague that I know. Can I put you in touch with him? And then you can start doing the work deeply to really dig out your mind. Because I guarantee when you bounce back off and you were going through that rebuild phase, I bet mentally you were in the worst place you've ever been in your life.
Ever.
Yeah. And we're talking about comparison, we're talking about negative self-talk, all of the physiological things that are happening, lack of sleep, dietary protocol, your ability to have a conversation and socialise with friends, and then the link between that and how you viewed where your social status was with your friendship group. Well, all of that is linked to a specific, potentially, mental health condition that needs to be channeled into a therapist, into a specialist, to get the right psychological support. And if trainers have that base layer understanding at the start, it leads to them getting their client the impact that they need early on, so that they can then continue down the path of helping them build out what's the core of the fucking onion. Because if you know what the core of the onion is, you can come back every single time to your why. And I use a great analogy. I always speak to anybody I deal with that your journey will happen with the law of thirds. A third of the time, you will sail your ship in the ocean, and we're all in the same ocean, the ocean of life. The vessel and the boat that you're sailing from, Storm, is very different than the one I'm sailing from. I sail from, I don't know, maybe your vessel is a big, huge cruise ship. Maybe mine is a military jig. Who knows? Whatever. I might even be sailing from a canoe. You might be starting your journey from a really small, beaten down wooden canoe. But guess what? As long as on the third of that journey, the ship is sailing in the course that it's supposed to be sailing, the waters are calm, that's good. But guess what? Another third of that journey, you're going to be battered by waves. You're going to be on a rocky road and shit's going to happen that perhaps you didn't foresee. And then the final third of that journey, you will be topped overboard. Your boat will crash. It will be blown to pieces. And you'll have to go all the way back to the shoreline and dig in deep, rebuild and set sail again. That's life. That is absolutely life. That's everything that we come up against with the law of thirds. And if we can teach people to understand how that happens, why it happens, and how to expect it, the journey to achieving your goal will always be deep-rooted in what your core values, identities, and beliefs are. I no longer do health and fitness for vanity. Of course, there's a little bit in there within your mindset, but it's because at the age of 80, I want to be able to beat my grandchildren, both of my daughters, and all of my other family members sprinting down to the lake and jumping in the sea. I want to bounce on a trampoline with my grandchildren and their dogs. I want to play with the kids. I want to run around like a blue. I want to be able to do a backflip at the age of 80 and show people what the art of the possible is. That's an identity.
Can you do a backflip now?
Yes. Yes, I can. I want to continue to be able to do that. But this is what I'm saying. If you have those little isms in your mind, it's never not difficult to go and do the things that you want to do. There might be roadblocks, there might be hurdles, it might be a bit shit from time to time. But realistically, if it's aligned to your core, everything that you do will be easy. And this is why that mindset piece is so important that you just said. So important.
I think it's also, like you said, we're all sailing in different vessels, and you have to you can't envision yourself to be like someone else when you're starting in your fitness journey either. You have to know that your journey is going to look very different to that other person's, and you are probably going to look very different to that other person. It's good to have role models and people that you look up to, but you are you. You're not going to be like anyone else, and you're going to be going on your own journey, like you say. Very powerful. Period. Thank you so much.
No, you're
Thank you so much, Dean.
Absolutely bang on the money.
I've really enjoyed today's. Yeah.
Oh, I love it. Love chatting about it. It's such an important piece as well, because we're so dialed in. Like, so many people are not dialed into the self-talk or the things that they tell themselves, and how much that can impact you. It's a real shame that it's not a shame, because there are lessons to be learned, but just finding somebody that can help you through these challenges can have so much power and so much weight when you actually dig through what your goal is and what your identities are. It can be really impactful with the right person.
Massively. And like I said, you've inspired me today massively to work tweak my own processes with my clients, because I mean, what you say it makes a lot of sense. And I have really thoroughly enjoyed talking to you. And like I said, I'd love to have you back on again.
Yes.
And is there any last words before we close today's episode?
I mean, I don't really have anything awe-inspiring to tell you. I think the depth and breadth of the conversation kind of will give people an opportunity to dig a little bit deeper. But one thing I'll always try and challenge people to do is, if you don't know what you're doing this for, it's all well and good setting an achievable, realistic, time phase goal. And those surface layers goals are really, really good. They're really good. But your podcast, bikinis, balance, body bikini, like that type of narrative. If you want to get balance in your life, you can't just do things without digging deep in those layers and really understanding what your goal is, what the process is. You might start right the way back in the hills and in the jungle before you even get to the shoreline to see the sea, and that's okay.
Yeah.
Because starting from that far back, maybe you're gathering all of your resources together. Maybe you're getting the things that you need from a mindset perspective. Maybe you're building your support network. Maybe you're trying to find, think of it like a big voyage. Maybe you're trying to find people that can help you challenge your negative self-talk and help you understand what goals you need to achieve. Maybe you're going to get all of the pieces of the puzzle together before you then get to the shore and start building the boat. And that is still part of your journey. Still part of your journey.
Yeah.
If you get it right, honestly, you will absolutely 1000% smash the things that you've got in front of you, because you've got all of that in place. And like I say, the 5 whys, digging in deep into that, will unlock a narrative that you've probably never had before, and it will really give you an opening to why you want to do the things that you want to do.
I think I'm going to go away and do that myself, Actually, like,
really
sit down and
powerful.
go through the 5 whys.
Amazing.
Yeah.
Oh, mate, I love that.
Thank you.
You are so welcome. Thank you so much for having me on.
Amazing. Thank you. And we will talk soon.
We will indeed. Lovely speaking to you, Storm. Take care.